The higher energy within you, the life force, literally uses your intellectual mind and your body as servants. We can be very proud of ourselves if we have high IQ, you have triple master's degrees, you've been acknowledged in the professional world, and yet when you refer back to the scriptures, the saying is that the life force, the prana, and Atma, your soul, use your mind, your body as servants, as vehicles. That's what they are. So when you're at the gas station calculating the price of gas or some grocery bill, the soul is using the mind as an instrument. That's what it is. So then imagine what the ego does. Ego's very fascinated with the body. Take it the actress who's doing a lot of injections and a lot of diets and weightlifting and all that. Our fascination with the body. Old traditional yoga is not fascinated by the body as a powerful entity of its own. And then Shivananda continuously talks about integration of unmanifest with the manifest world. Meaning, there's the subatomic energetic world, and then there's, let's say, city of Chicago, Rome, and Paris. The unmanifest is called Anmessa, the manifest is called Nimessa. And the pendulum keeps swinging. How does the pendulum swing? You go into rest, which means meditation. You bring that energy out into activity. Then you say, well, Kambiz, my life has many more dimensions than that. It's okay, but you can really narrow it down to 2 cycles. If you want to remain healthy, you have to somehow create that space of time to come back to the soul, somehow. Could be walk in the woods, could be hugging your grandchild, doing a puzzle, doing creative writing. Now, why do we stress meditation in yoga? Meditation is the actual practice of being able to watch thoughts, emotions, physical sensations marching before you, but you are not invested because you are the watcher, the viewer of the movie. This is why it is said in the Indian tradition that once you reach samadhi, which is continuous disbelief of the roller coaster ride of the mind. One definition of samadhi level 1 is that the witness continuously has the ability to disengage, disinvest from the fluctuations of emotions, thoughts. So what is meditation? Meditation is just that daily practice of disinvesting, detaching from passing thoughts, emotions, physical sensations. So then once you reach Samadhi 1, you can choose whether you want to meditate or not. A lot of the saints and the gurus have chosen to continue. The reason is, when you meditate, there's this upsurge of bliss, spiritual electricity, kundalini. So it is pleasurable. But then again, as you advance, as this energy courses through you more actively, then outside of meditation, the God force is pulling you in outside of meditation. So one of these days, after one of these workshops, you'll be walking in your living room and something will pull you in to silence. You might be ironing your shirt, and very unconsciously, as you're ironing the shirt, hum sound just comes in by itself. In other words, prayer is happening by itself. So maybe you've had experiences before this talk where you were going about your business and somehow you're pulled in. It's like sudden moment of silence. or suddenly the heart wants to burst with joy. And you didn't really do anything, it pulled you in. You want to be looking for that celebration. One of these days, the flow of spiritual electricity will get strong enough where it will pull you in. You don't need to sit on the meditation cushion to plead for that force to be with you. There's no more pleading. Maharishi used to describe it this way. He said, you burn a lot of fuel in the NASA space station. You burn a lot of fuel to get this rocket ship off the ground. And once it reaches a certain altitude up in the sky, then they shut off the engine, And then if it gets close enough to a planet, then the astronauts know that the planet starts to pull the spaceship. So when they landed on the moon, they knew that if they go close enough to the moon, then the moon's gravitational pull is going to pull the spaceship or the station. Same thing with meditation. All you need to do is burn enough fuel to get away from the gravitational pull of ego, baggage in the subconscious mind, and your own self-image of I am a face, I am a passport number, I am my life story. That's the gravitational pull of Earth in this particular example that I'm giving you. Because we're talking about a spaceship. In that example, the gravitational pull of Earth is my life story. How did I get hurt when somebody touched me the wrong way sexually? Did my stepdad really love me or not? Did my mom love the other sister more or not? Was I dumb because I failed 3rd grade of elementary school? All the things that our mind does to us. And so even if somebody else hurt you, in the end, it was your mind that came up with a self-limiting, self-hurting interpretation. In the end, it was your mind. Even if somebody does sexual abuse, you can always choose to think that that was a very sick person instead of adopting shame, toxic shame. Although the person who touched you was somebody else. So why should you be ashamed? In the end, we all do it to ourselves. But, is this unfair to say to a 4-year-old? Yes. But that's why people come on a journey it's called reframing. You reinterpret what happened to you at the age of 4. Reframing is just a technique. If you didn't have enough money when you were 5 years old, now you have enough money, you have to reinterpret the original shame as an adult. And then Shivananda is saying that with continued meditation, you get to a point where the gravitational pull is gone, so then the life force, the holy force, the divine force starts pulling you in. When that happens, you develop what I call the Teflon mind. Teflon mind means no event leaves a lasting impression on your mind. The non-meditative mind, you go to the supermarket, you have a brand new Lexus, somebody's shopping cart is let go of, it bangs into your brand new Lexus, and the bumper dents. So then, for the next day and a half, you're really angry at the lady who released her shopping cart. This is very practical, the example I'm giving you. Your car was brand new. Okay? With the Teflon mind, the shopping cart hits your bumper. for a moment you say, oh, what a shame. It's just such a perfect looking car. But the incident and the anger doesn't stay with you for a day and a half. Might last for 15 minutes. And then you just meet the moment. You meet the moment. And your meditative mind, your transcendent mind, comes up with a solution. It's like, I can either keep screaming at her in the parking of the shopping center or say, all right, it was an incident and we're done. And this is what the scriptures mean by loving detachment. You meet the moment, whatever's happened, you meet the moment, you handle it. So think about what I said. As you progress on this path, nothing cuts a deep groove into your subconscious. That shopping cart doesn't cut deeply into your subconscious. And if you have friends who are non-meditators, you see that they can be seething with anger for 2 days, how stupid people can be to release their shopping cart. It just goes on. And then you smoke a few cigarettes because you're so angry. And then that builds upon the anger. And what happens to the meditative mind? It watches everything arising and vanishing. So as you get to trust the field of silence within you, anything that arises in your body, mind, or emotionally, you're not theorizing. Anything that arises, you say, okay, I can see some hunger just rise, and then you have a grape or something and you see hunger vanish back into nothing. Same with anger. You can even fall in love. As a meditator, you can fall deeply in love, be very attracted to somebody, and yet you say, okay, I can feel the fever and the fire of falling in love. I can see that I'm missing my lover. But see, you're still seeing, you're observing the sensation of your body. Every cell of your body wants to get back to your lover. You can see that. As it's happening, you can laugh and tell your sister, I can see that every cell of my body is wanting that embrace. You can see it. That's the Teflon. While it's happening. A non-meditator burning in the fever of a crush, romantic crush, usually doesn't say, ooh, look at this. This is pretty strong. I can see how I'm being pulled towards the person. There's no seeing in a non-meditator's mind. In other words, the quiet observer is constantly there. I want you to think about this term. Yoga calls, one way that yoga calls your soul, they call it the quiet observer of your life. It's like you're in love, and it's the second date, you're waiting for your lover to come and pick you up, and there's a quiet observer observing the moment while it's happening. Even more intensely, you just gave birth to a little girl and they've put her in your arms in the hospital for the first time. Something that intense. Quiet observer is watching the moment. Something that intense. Most people don't have witnessing the first time they hold their babies. It's too intense. And then self-realized people, they can sense each other. Doesn't mean that they have titles. It doesn't mean that they're famous. They sense each other's presence. How do they sense it? I would say inner silence, very good level of contentment, pure self-love. having nothing to do with conceit or narcissism, a deep level of contentment, a very, very decent level of self-love, not dependent on anything external. Those things cannot be faked. Hopefully, as you remain on this journey, you'll see that, for example, advanced progress on this path cannot be faked. You cannot pretend advancement in loving detachment, for example. If they bring something big enough in front of you and you don't really have the training for detachment, then there's going to be tremendous overexcitement. Or you get to the third interview of a job and the final answer is no. It's very difficult to fake equanimity when you have 3 children to feed. But when equanimity is there, you see it. This is why if you want to know an advanced spiritual being, you live with them for a while.